Hello again. Welcome to Tales of Mytherwrel, and sitting with me is Dale Gillespie. Dale Gillespie is our writer for our series, and so we're going to sit here and get to know Dale a little bit more.
Okay.
And so, hi Dale.
Hello. Hello, Marie.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been in the industry of film.
Well, I've been in the industry for actually quite a long time. I've been on both sides of the camera. I've experienced acting, and also I used to be a makeup artist.
Oh, wow.
So that's how I basically started in the industry, was behind the camera, doing makeup. And then I used to, when I lived in California, I did some student films with the American Film Institute. So every once in a while I say, "Oh, Dale, can you go sit in the scene? Can be an extra in the scene? We need somebody there." And then when I moved back here to Vancouver, I started doing musical theater, and then that led to doing extra work in front of the camera. That kind of led to what I'm doing now, and I think in a way my writing benefits from that, because I know what's going on. I've been on both sides of the camera, so I know what's needed. Basically, in the film industry, I guess since about 1973. Yes, I'm an old guy.
Way back when.
Yes, way back when, in the ancient days, the other century.
So, when was it exactly that you started to do writing?
The first thing I wrote, that again was something like 1973 or 1978. I was living in Edmonton, and a bunch of us got together and decided to form like a science fiction comic book society.
Oh, wow.
And then somebody got the bright idea, hey, let's do a script contest. So I wrote these two really short scripts for the contest, and I was about the only one that entered, so the contest went,
oh no.
That was it. And I also wrote longhand a kind of a love story script that it's a period piece. It takes place like in Brooklyn in the 1970s, and then it goes back in time to 1938, and then back to Brooklyn in the 1970s.
Oh, wow.
And I had to do some research on that about the Nazis invading Austria and stuff. And just like when I rewrote the two science fiction movies, one of them was about a series of airplane crashes. So I had to investigate, redo research on the NTSB and what we call it here in Canada, the TSB. But when I originally wrote them, it was the Ministry of Transport, so I did a lot of, research on the internet. Well, how do you, when you get to a crash site, how do you put the plane back together and the black boxes and all that stuff?
So everybody knows research is fun.
Oh, gosh, yes. Well, it's just like the writing for Tales of Mytherwrel. I'm trying to come up with names for characters that aren't Earth-based or don't sound like they're Earth-based. So I've been doing, like a mixture of, like when I was looking for a name for the teacher that, teaches herbology. So I thought, okay, well, herbs, let's find a name that means that. So I went looking in like Native American and Celtic, Scottish, Irish, and I found some like the teacher is a female, so I looked up, okay, female Native American names, and I found like a really good website, so I just went to flower, okay, use that piece of the name, and oh, that Celtic name is neat, and let's put it together.
All right, so tell us about your experience as Santa Claus.
Oh, well, okay, well, let's get into Santa Claus mode here. I've already got the beard. I started, I became Santa Claus in 1997.
Oh.
My brother had been Santa Claus before me, and that first year I was a backup Santa over at Lougheed Mall. So I was there like, I think, Mondays and Tuesdays. And so I got to do pet nights. Because back then they still did pet photography.
Oh.
And that was, wow.
What about the Vancouver parade?
Yes, in 2004, Rogers Rogers Communication decided they were going to do a Santa Claus parade here in Vancouver.
Nice.
And at the time, I was delivering cars between dealerships. And so I'm on the highway, and I've got it tuned to the radio station, News 1130, and I heard this report. And then I called the radio station, and they said, contact the Pace Group. They're doing the publicity. So when I went home that night, I called the Pace Group, and they said, write us a letter. So I decided, well, Dale Gillespie isn't going to write a letter to them. Santa Claus and the reindeer are going to write a letter to them. So I made a letterhead, a Santa Claus, the North Pole letterhead, and wrote a letter as Santa Claus. And I told them they could either contact my acting agent or my Santa manager. So a few days later, my manager's name, her name is Lynn Blake, she called me up and said, they want to see you. It was an interesting experience. I'd never experienced anything like it before. And finally it was, you know, my turn. I was the last float. And we got moving, and suddenly everybody's cheering, and, you know, and I'm thinking, what? Why? No, I'm serious. I didn't, you know, I couldn't figure out who's that for? And then I suddenly realized, oh, that's for me. Oh, and I started crying.
Oh.
I started crying. I got emotional a little bit because I thought, really, okay, it's for Santa Claus. That's really cool. So I had 10 years with the parade. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience. I cherish it. I'll remember it for the rest of my life. So, I missed it. So who knows, maybe I'll be able to do it again. But I don't know. So. I'm hoping that I can get back in the chair at the mall. Yeah. At the malls this year, so.
You were also on a web series as Santa as well.
Yes, yes. It was called Wired Santa, and you can still find them on YouTube. And it was basically, it was the 12 days of Christmas. So we got a bunch of, hired a bunch of, they were all actors, except for one of them, she was the producer, but girls that were quite short played the elves, and we did actually have 2 little people.
Oh.
But the second one, he couldn't stay for the second day of filming, so you don't see him in it. And we got a Mrs. Claus. I can't remember her name, but if you watch Snakes on a Plane, you can see her. She's in some of the scenes. And there was music, so there was singing and everything. And I read letters to Santa Claus. And what I did, because a lot of the times I would keep the letters that the kids would give me at the mall. So I brought them as props. And we opened them up and read, because we did one episode where Santa and Mrs. Claus were reading. And it was a lot of fun. So that's all I did as Santa that last year, but it was cool. It was fun.
Awesome.
So like I said, I hope to get back to it.
In the meantime, you're enjoying your time creating and developing the story of Mytherwrel.
Oh, I am having so much fun for letting me be part of Marie's world here for Tales of Mytherwrel. I am having so much fun. I don't think I've been more creative, you know, in my writing before this. And Marie, she wrote like the stories, like the outlines for me. This is Marie's baby, so she's the creator. She knows what she wants, so she sent me a big long list, and so basically I followed that, and of course expanded on it and added, and so far they've been liking it.
Okay. And to finish off, you've hoped to do more in the future.
Oh yeah, and no more what?
Writing.
Oh God, yes. I've got my own stuff going on. I've got 3 features I'm trying to write right now. One is a serial killer mystery.
Oh, cool.
One is a cybercrime mystery that takes place in the near future, about 20 or so years from now. And I've got an alien abduction script I'm working on, and one that I worked on with Eric about it's a police mystery science fiction horror script with it involves an ancient succubus going through Los Angeles and sucking the souls out of men.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us, and we'll come back with more soon. Thank you.
Bye.